So, what is your name?
Kavi Vu.
And how long have you been living in Vietnam?
7 months.
What made you come here?
I wanted a change of pace from the U.S. I grew up in the U.S. all my life, so I just wanted to experience the homeland.
And have you gotten everything you wanted to experience out of Vietnam?
No, not yet, but definitely getting there. Like I'm learning a lot of Vietnamese. I'm learning a lot more culture, and even though I'm like 9,000 miles away from my mom, I feel like I'm closer to her because there's just so much insight that I'm gaining into her life by living here.
How did you plan like your trip to get here? Like, did you save X amount of money? What do you do for work right now? How was that process from? Because it's not every day where someone's like, I'm gonna just sell everything. I'm gonna sell my house. I'm gonna pack this. I'm gonna go back to the homeland. So like, how did you prepare, or did you just, you know what? I'm just gonna.
No, I'm not that kind of person. I think the refugee in me wouldn't let me do that. But I planned for 9 months before I moved here.
How much did you save up?
I'm still working, but I reduced my project load. I'm a freelancer. I'm a freelance videographer and video producer.
So just to make it clear, you work remotely, so you're still earning U.S. based income.
Yes. Yeah. So still work for U.S. Clients. So I guess instead of like having 6 clients in the U.S., I reduced it down to 2.
And that is enough to not only survive but thrive in Vietnam, would you say?
Yes, yeah, it is. And I think if you plan it well and you budget well, you don't need a lot to live here. You really don't.
Is there a specific number for someone who's out there who wants to like quit everything? I want to try living in Vietnam. What's that number, do you think?
It depends on your standard of like.
This.
Okay,
around
if you
this-
want to live like
what's a ballpark?
I'm pretty safe with my budgeting. Like I wouldn't spend more than like 10% or like yeah, I wouldn't spend more than 10% on housing. Like I would try to make at least $4,000 USD a month to live here. But I also like am here to play. I'm here to. I have a goal of traveling to a different country a month, and that's
and you
costly.
and you get that experience on, you would say 4,000 USD is enough to not only work here and like pay for rent, everything, but you still have once a weekend to like get away from somewhere, anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's
More than that.
doable.
What don't you like about living in Vietnam?
Oh, what don't I like? As a Vietnamese woman who is not married at my age, I'm 32. I've never seen myself as old because like in the US, we have families a little later.
But I know in Vietnamese culture, if you're 30 and a woman, you get the era of eh.
Yeah, definitely.
It's literally called leftover.
I know, spoiled, like milk. So yeah, that was new. Like honestly, like every Grab driver, every like hair wash person
"What?
doing
You're
my
not married?"
nails, everyone is like, "How come you aren't married with kids? Like, like what's wrong with you? What was wrong with your relationship? Did he beat you? Did he cheat? Did he?" Yeah, and I was just like, "No, he was a good guy." And they're like, "Then why didn't you marry him?" It's like, wait, what? So yeah, that's wild. I'm not a huge fan of the pollution. Like for my health reasons, I'm like, okay, the standards are different from the U.S.
Can we talk about specifically what's been affecting your health living here for 7 months?
Yeah, I don't think the water like agrees with me. So like I broke out like crazy when I first got here. I lost a lot of hair when I first got here. The pollution, I got sick a lot. I had to buy an air filter like quickly. It's so hot outside, and then when you get in AC, it's super cold. So you just get sick faster. Yeah.
So if you take that into consideration, like what's making you stay in Vietnam?
I mean, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. It's so relaxed here. Like I've never been like relaxed in my life. It was always like in the US it's like you're working and then you get home from work and you're thinking about working. And then right before you go to sleep, you think about the work the next day. And then you get to work and you're thinking about next week's work. You're just always working. And over here, you're just like chill. I mean, you can hit up your friends for coffee for 3-4 hours, and that's normal.
Do you think that's because we're using the privilege of stretching the US dollar
I don't
compared to
think
the
so.
locals? Or do you think the locals also have much more of like a slower, chill pace compared to Western culture?
I really think so. I mean, yes, there is privilege, of course, because we're making USD, but like locals still enjoy their time. They're so content with their lives. Like even like, the person selling banh mi, she's chilling.
Yeah.
She's chill. She hustles, but she's chill.
Yeah.
There's like this beautiful balance in how they work and how they appreciate life. That in the U.S. it's always keeping up with the Joneses. You got to buy the house. Once you buy the house, you want to have a kid. You got to pay for that kid's college, and it's like, yeah.
But would you say the Vietnamese families also have that same hustle and bustle here?
Yeah. It is the same hustle, but it just feels more chill to me.
Yeah.
Like they don't, like from my perspective, because it doesn't cost that much to eat. You can find cheaper foods. In the U.S., it was like, it costs an arm and a leg to go out to eat, and you have to tip, you have to pay for parking, all that stuff. Insurance is so high. So yeah, I feel like to live a good life here, it's just cheaper.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
And say that the average Vietnamese person makes 10 mil.
Okay.
So in terms of making money and like affording like let's say a house here and renting here,
Yeah.
it isn't as let's say luxurious as like us.
Yeah.
So I would say they would also have the same problems in the West, where it's like in the West, people are worrying about what's their next paycheck. It's the same here. But if you zoom in into like a local Vietnamese perspective, so what do you say about that?
I don't think so, because like the mindset in the West is that you have to keep hustling and like just to live, like healthcare wise, it's just so expensive. And for us as like immigrants, and always kind of like living under the radar a little bit, like my parents never got preventative care. But over here they do. Like they can feel empowered to like go to the dentist and doctor and get that care. And that's so different from the US.
Speaking about, we're gonna segue. Speaking about your parents,
Yeah.
mom, how did your parents react when you're like, mẹ, ba, con đi,
Yeah.
con xin về Việt
Yeah,
Nam, đi ở Việt Nam luôn.
yeah.
How was their reaction?
My parents were definitely like, they know I do this.
Yeah.
I just kind of make wild decisions.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, Vietnam is not a place you live. It's
Yeah.
a place you visit.
Yeah.
It's not a place you
Same.
live. Yeah. She left 30 something years ago. She doesn't have quite a modernized look on Vietnam. But recently she came to visit me for 2 months, and a lot of her perspective has changed. She's like, wow, this is nicer than the US.
Yeah.
Like we have, you have these different amenities that I've never seen before in the U.S. And I'm like, yeah, because we can afford it here. Yeah.
But did you have like the first month where they're like on top of you in terms of like, oh my God,
Yes.
you gotta be careful about this. You
Yes.
can't trust this. You gotta do this.
Yeah, it was so much of that. That's why I live in this building, because she was like, you need like top-notch security. She's like, don't bring your camera anywhere. Don't like, your phone. Don't talk to anybody. Don't talk to strangers. Like, yeah, it was intense, but she's definitely like cooled down now.
But then your mom did have an influence in terms of you picking the building you want to live, or
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because like I pay, a premium for that security that I knew my mom needed. Yeah.
Talking in terms of security, what is the worst or scariest thing that has happened to you as you were living in Vietnam for only 7 months? Is there a specific incident that you can tell?
You're talking about when I got mugged. Yeah.
What happened?
Definitely. So I chose D4, and it's pretty local, and it's kind of
Wait, so for D4 back in the day is like
gangster.
Yang Ho everywhere D4, but
Very
now
Yang
it's
Ho.
a little bit more modernized. But
Yeah, it's been cleaned up, but it's still, you still have to be careful and be vigilant on your surroundings. But yeah, I was just like walking home one day with a friend, and it was late night, and they totally snatched my purse. And yeah, they grabbed it, like a guy on a motorbike grabbed my purse from my
did you
arm.
see him from afar?
Yeah, he came from behind, but there's so many motorbikes that you don't notice one particular one. But he came really close to us, and my perspective, I was like, you're not gonna try to mug us. So I was like trying to get out of his way because I thought I was in his way. And then we both locked eyes, and I was like, can you go around, And he just grabbed my purse and took off. But then it like hung on to my hand.
Yeah.
So I grabbed it back, and we just kind of did a
little dance.
Tug of war. But he was on his motorbike, so he's
Yeah.
super wobbly. Yeah. So my friend just grabbed him and threw him off his motorbike and put him in like arrest mode.
Yeah.
It was super scary. Like all of that was super traumatizing, and I was like, I can't believe that just happened. But my phone and my purse are safe.
So then you Your friend helped you get the bag, and then did he like get back on his bike?
Yeah, like I mean, they were like fighting, and it was so funny because my friend only speaks English,
Yeah.
and he's like local Vietnamese, so they were like yelling at each other in two different languages, and like shit talking, and they fight, and then I was like, well, I just heard that they travel in packs, and so there was probably another guy coming with maybe a knife or something, so I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm like running away. He gets on his bike. He followed us.
After getting his ass beat.
After getting his ass beat, yeah, he was still shit talking. And as we're running away, he was like still shit talking. And my friend was like, "Yo, I'll beat your ass right now."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to smoke." Because in the States, everyone has a gun.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, "We're about to get shot."
Yeah.
So I'm just booking it, and then eventually we lost him.
So you had to like
We
it's
had
like
to outrun him.
like a freaking action movie. You like
Yeah, we were just
hide.
running. Yeah, it was just high on adrenaline, just booking it.
And then you eventually made it back here.
Yeah, we made it towards like my security
Oh
gate,
my-
and I felt safe for.
And how many months ago was that?
That was like 2 months into me living here. Yeah, and I was like, I guess I should move back to the States now.
How did you process that? Like the first 2 months and then that happening, did that affect you like weeks afterwards?
Yeah. I mean, like because I work U.S. hours, I was going out to coffee shops a lot late night, and I felt so safe. But after that, I was like, all right, I guess I'm working in my house only. Yeah, it freaked me out a lot. I returned my bike rental. I was driving around, and I suddenly felt super vulnerable just driving because you can't get in your car and lock your car.
yeah.
You're just on a
I
motorbike.
can just like touch.
Anyone can just grab you, or grab your purse or whatever. So yeah, that was terrifying. Good reminder that like everything that your parents warn you about.
There's always a
Can
little
be
grain
true.
of truth. You came here as a single Vietnamese bachelorette.
Yes.
Vietnamese American bachelorette. You're 7 months here. How are you able to socialize and meet, let's say, dating in terms of finding a partner here? Like, have you went on apps? Have you like met through friends of friends? And how has your overall experience being a Viet Kieu girl in Vietnam? How's that been?
It's rough. It's definitely rough dating here because my Vietnamese is okay. I would say like level, like out of 10, it's like a 6, but it's not like enough to get deep and know someone on that emotional level. So I like, tried to date some local, like truly local folks. And I mean, their mindsets are a little more traditional. I'm like a Western girl.
Yeah.
So like I'm opinionated. My humor is different. My look is different. Culturally, I'm like, don't talk over me. Baseline respect me, which is wild from over here.
Wow.
So that's different. Dating expats feels weird to me. I feel like there is some kind of yellow fever with like, men who come here specifically.
Yes.
They're looking for a submissive Vietnamese girl.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's interesting because they're interested in my look, obviously, because I'm an Asian woman. But and I speak English, which is nice. But the second we get to like cultural values, I'm like, yeah, I'm not your girl.
And this is mainly you're talking about local Vietnamese guys
Right
or
now I'm
expats.
talking about expats, like Europeans, Australians.
Gotcha.
But it's been really nice to like meet different kinds of people. I mean, in the U.S., I'm only meeting American guys. So now I'm like, what? You've traveled to all these places, and like you grew up in like Amsterdam. Like, how was that? In Germany, in France. Like, that's so cool. Like, what an experience to get to meet all these different kinds of people and to know what you don't like. But yeah, and meeting Viet Kieux is cool because you're on kind of this similar journey of like you're both.
Do you have a preference?
I think right now, someone with Vietnamese heritage, but like is kind of westernized because I just am westernized.
So you want someone like you?
Not like just like me, but baseline,
Have you been on really bad dates? Like, what's a story that you're like,
I have.
this is, I never want to.
I have. I think it's because like I can't tell if expats or Viet Kieux like haven't.
Like, wait, hold up. Like, how are you meeting these people first? Let's
Okay.
like, what's so if we had like KV's pie chart,
Okay.
what's
yeah.
percentage friends of friends,
Okay,
apps?
okay. Maybe like it's my first time using a dating app. Like in the States, I just knew people. Yeah, but going on dating apps is wild because guys will just put dates that they're here. They'll literally put a calendar and they're like, I'm visiting for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I'm not trying to meet someone for 2 weeks. Like, but yeah, there's a lot of that on dating apps. So maybe like 30% meeting people on dating apps, and then like 30% like activities, pickleball, yoga, whatever. And then the 40% is like friends of friends. Yeah. But yeah, the really bad.
Is it la mai?
And my friends are like, oh, you're single, she's single, you guys should talk, meet, whatever. Or like going out, and there's like good amount of groups here, Saigon Viet Kieu, Overseas Vietnamese, Saigon Creative Club, yeah, all that. All that.
Have you had a boyfriend here for your 7 months?
Boyfriend? No.
No. So like
It
dating.
doesn't seem like people.
It doesn't go to the boyfriend stage?
No, I mean, it's just wild. Like, have you ever heard the term LBH? It's really mean, but I'm kind of getting it. When I first moved,
Wait, what does it stand for?
it stands for losers back home, and I'm really getting it because like if you don't do well in your country and you go to a country where people love English speakers, you feel like you're the shit. You feel like such an eligible bachelor. And you get a lot of that phenomenon where these guys are just like, I'm the shit. And I'm like, I'm not impressed by you speaking English. That's baseline, So I'm just kind of different in that. Like, there's a lot of Vietnamese girls who would just be like, wow, I will do anything. For not anything, but yeah, like,
oh my God,
they love that.
Because it's like, from my understanding from locals, dating it's not so much like the Western way of like compatibility. It's more like, how do I date you so I can level up in my life?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like very like back, like super 1800s.
Yeah, he's
like
from a good
class,
family. They have a good business, passport. And I'm not saying all locals, but yeah, that's what it feels like. And so when like maybe a Viet Kieu like yourself or something dates like a Vietnamese girl, like a local Vietnamese girl, and they treat you a certain way, and then you meet me, I'm just kind of like not impressed by a U.S. passport. I will pay a cleaner to clean for you. But yeah, I'm not that girl. I'm like, more career focused and emotionally.
There is that stereotype where it's like you're LBH, loser back home.
Yeah.
You're like for me, it's like I didn't have not to like stroke my own ego, but it's like I never had issues dating back home. So coming here, I'm like whatever. I see people as people, but it's like I can understand the LBH mindset where it's like if you never got any back home and you're like a virgin and it's like you're like, oh my God, a girl, and you come here and now it's like complete opposite. It's very easy to like get an inflated ego.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I see a lot. But and dating is just hard here because people are traveling all the time. There's such transient people, and myself included. Like I don't know if I'm gonna live here long term, so it's hard to kind of put roots here.
So it's Kavi still single?
Oh my God, no.
No.
I don't know.
This is where you can slide in. I'll probably take you.
No, please don't slide. If you just want to hear poetry, you can follow me, but that's about it.
You tell me you never met anyone through the DMs.
I've never met anyone. I mean,
Like
just
date.
no one has DM'd me and been like, let's go on a date. They're always weird about the DMs. They're just like, hey girl. I'm like, whoa,
Gotcha. Okay, so to wrap this up, have you gotten what you wanted to seek from like completely changing your life back home in Atlanta to come here? Like, did you find what you were seeking in Vietnam?
I am still finding it. I don't think 7 months is enough, but I think that I'm in the right direction.
Direction for what?
To slow life down, gain different perspectives, and just see like a little bit of a bigger picture of life. Because I was just, you're so focused on your life in your country.
You're able to zoom out.
Yeah, zoom out.
Have you? Because for me, the 3 months that I've been here, I feel like I've grown so much compared to when I was back home. So have you yourself seen any, let's say, internal growth from just being here, or you're more along the lines of you're already growing back home, you're coming here is just more of a different, you're just changing your environment?
Oh, no, yeah, I've definitely seen, feel a lot of growth, there's a lot of inner work, and just feeling so much more connected to, I don't know, my own wants and needs, and not I don't know, when you work your whole life to be I want to buy a house, I want to get a husband, I want to have kids, and keeping up with that American dream, and then completely letting go of all of that and just being like, what's important? Like, what do I want? Yeah, I'm finding that here.
Okay, let's wrap. Thank you.